There's this switch everyone experiences in their life where life and self-improvement, doing anything, switches from being this battle of accomplishing things and making something work, and it switches into being a battle of getting yourself on your own side. If you think about when you were a kid, it's almost like everything was engaging. All you did was think about possibilities, and it felt like this fun battle of pulling this rope. Like you're pulling this rope of self-improvement, and it's this fun and engaging task. You're seeing things along the rope, you're pulling into the present. And it switched into getting yourself even motivated to pull the rope. And what it's felt like, this is my own little schizo analogy, so I'm sorry if it's messy, but I feel like it works pretty well. It feels like somewhere along the line of pulling that rope, other people's opinions started mattering. Limiting beliefs started getting embedded in your subconscious. Negative thought patterns started replacing the positive ones you once had. And it's like the rope just got super knotted. Like you have this super messy knotted rope, and it stopped being fun to pull. It just started feeling like this task. And everyone, let's be real here, everyone wants to fight a battle of growing a business. A lot of people play video games for that reason. If you want to play GTA 5, or if you want to play a tycoon game, it's very clear that if you do these things, it's going to go pretty smoothly. Everyone wants to build something when they can sort of see the bigger picture and know it's going to play out. But no one wants to fight this messy identity battle. No one wants to fight a battle where they're cranking hog one day, doom scrolling, like playing video games too much. This messy identity battle, no one wants to fight that. No one wants to pull the rope when it was super knotted. And when you do pull it, it's not really effective. You don't really accomplish anything, okay? Like I said, bear with me on the analogy here. But over the last year for me, it feels like I've been untying all of those knots. Untying these negative thought patterns I've had, these limiting beliefs I've had, and honestly, more importantly than all, overthinking. Overthinking for me was really the most painful thing to get over. But once you find a system and once you get into it and you feel like a video game where you're getting XP, that's when it starts becoming like you're untying the knots and then you're pulling and then you're getting more knots and you're untying those. It's this super fun, like video game loop of self-improvement. And that's what it's felt like over the last year here. But somewhere along the line, other people's opinions started mattering and your brain got bogged down by these negative thought patterns that are ingrained in our heads. And really, when you think about it, we, in this day and age, are overcoming monumental levels of programming and monumental levels of self-improvement that we have to go through to untie these knots. I mean, most people are not even untying the knots. They're just trying to pull this messy rope and they're not making any progress. But with untying those knots, you have so many knots to untie. It gets to this beautiful, fun loop, but 12-year-olds. There are 12-year-olds seeing more naked women in their phone, on their phone in the span of an hour or two than the most rich and affluent and successful people in the year 800 AD or 1000 AD would see in their entire lifetimes. And they're seeing that in just an hour or just half an hour or even less. Every single, time you go on Reels, you're pulling yourself into getting rage baited and then getting horny and then getting motivated. You're pulling yourself emotionally. You're emotionally fried. You're externally triggering yourself by making your thoughts super scattered. Every girl on there shaking ass and popping pussy. And you're just scattering yourself and frying your brain in all these different aspects. And for me, the biggest thing for overcoming this overthinking and for really untying all these knots, the most important thing for me was to clear my mind. And be present. Clear my mind, be present, and focus on just one thing. Just one thing. Every morning and every night, that's what I do. I focus on just one thing. And when you start to stop thinking in this ethereal mental space, because most people live in the future where, it's so uncertain, or their past where they just think about their failures. When you can live in the moment and just focus on placing bricks, that's how you build anything. You just focus on the moment and you focus on the brick that you're currently placing. But over the last year, untying these knots and then pulling the rope, I was making content before. When I was making content, every time I would look back at a past video, I would cringe. And the reason I would cringe is because I knew I wasn't living it out. When I was making this content, this hollow productivity content, I wasn't living it out. And I guarantee you no one got true value from what I was talking about. You know you should be waking up early. You know you should be waking up at the same time every day. These things are fucking obvious, you know? These aren't the things that move the needle for most people, because most people are just mentally masturbating. They're consuming this content. And those videos, if you're watching this video, maybe you're, going back to my older content once, I got super popular and you're like, yo, I just found this Keenan guy watching back to his old content. Or if you're watching this because the algorithm fed it to you and this is a recent video, you're probably in that space where these niche YouTubers are popping up in your feed. You're seeing videos like, what Limitless teaches us about self-improvement. How you can take the Limitless drug in real life. Or, just this random bullshit. This random getting pulled from happy place to sad place, trying to chase an emotion that you think is going to make you take action. Or find the perfect video that's going to make you lock in. You are getting farmed. You are getting milked like a fucking cow. It's like the cows in the slaughterhouse when they're getting walked into a circle. When they're getting walked into a circle and they're playing music to make them pacify themselves before getting slaughtered. That's what you're doing. They are farming you. And that's what that's the real change that happened. It went from life had this energy and pulling the rope was fun. And then pulling the rope became, I'm cranking hog. I don't know how to battle these vices. Pulling the rope never seems to work. And then it turns into this cycle of just trying to run down the clock. I remember I would just try to find new video games. I felt so bored. And if you feel bored, that's when life comes and rapes you. Boredom is such a low frequency. I would literally just feel bored. I have to find a video game to make the day go by faster so I can die sooner. You're trying to run down the clock because you can't focus on what the fuck is in front of you. Doesn't exist in this ethereal mental space of the future or the past. He exists right now. He's right here. For me, my life doesn't feel like this messy battle. It feels like a prelude. I'm pulling the rope, untying the knots and pulling the rope, seeing the vision of what I can achieve so clearly in my mind, knowing I'm pulling it into the present. And that's what our imagination's for. It's not used to torture yourself. I mean, really, your imagination is so that you can see something so clearly in your mind. See something so clearly in your mind, have it replay over and over and over again, and building bricks to try to create it in the present, and then pulling it into the present. And that's exactly what you're doing with these negative thought patterns that you have. When you think of all the things that could go wrong, when you can think of all the reasons you shouldn't do it, all the reasons that you're a fucking loser because you think about all your past failures instead of your wins. That's how you're using your imagination to fuck it all over. And for some reason, when you become in this zombie state where you're just passively consuming content, you're just sitting there and taking it, right? Because that's really what you're doing. Life is fucking you. You're getting and you're looking out the window at some self-improvement content, just trying to zone out or trying to play video games. You're just trying to externalize your focus and not internalize it to say, hey, life is fucking me right now, okay? So when I would constantly consume self-improvement content, cucking the life I want to live, literally watching Brez. So many people watch Brez with their dick in their hand thinking, oh man, that's totally me. That's going to be me. Cucking the life you want to live. When I was doing this, I couldn't even, when you're living in a state where you are inactive, but your mind is racing, that's when you can't actually find the truth. That's when you can't find the truth. I've always felt like I wanted to be this sort of David Goggins, Jocko Willink, fuck you, I'm super stern and, super serious. But that's not my archetype. And the only way I could find that out was when I started untying the knots. And really, when I say untying the knots, the biggest needle mover for me was focusing on the present. Single point. Focusing on a single point. Building the skill of focusing on what's in front of you. And that's when people give you this advice, because so many people don't live it out. And I know, because I made content when I wasn't living it out. Okay? So when I see these people post content, I can see it in their fucking eyes. I see my past self. I see that they're not living it out. So when they say you have to detach, the law of detachment, the law of attraction, they talk about all these self-improvement concepts. But then you say, well, I know all this stuff, but how do I apply it? The biggest thing is focusing on what's in front of you. Building the skill of, before bed. Your mind's racing it. Your mind will convince you. Your mind's the greatest salesman. It knows everything about you. It will try to convince you, no, but this one piece of information, this one thing that's in your brain, you have to think about it. You have to solve this. You have to let your mind race with this one thought. You have to before bed. Even that, you build the skill of putting that aside, letting your mind be clear. And you'll wake up and magically you'll be like, what the fuck? My mind's clear in the morning and I don't want to run for my phone. I don't want to doom scroll and kill my day, have it be dead on arrival. What the fuck? And then that's the fun cycle of building the skill of creating that tension in your morning. When your brain, your dopamine receptors, if you want to look at the neuroscience, like a big fucking juicy lemon, you haven't wringed them out. It's a big juicy lemon. You can look outside. You could look at a fucking goose and get overwhelmed with euphoria thinking, oh my God, it's so perfect. Life is so awesome. Because your brain is like a big juicy lemon. You haven't wringed it out with porn. You haven't wringed it out with short form media. You haven't wringed it out. You haven't fried your dopamine receptors yet. So the beautiful art of maintaining that tension and pulling the rope. That's the beautiful cycle of self-improvement. And as I said, it feels like a prelude. And really, when I focus on what's in front of me and I really can just clear my mind before making a video, it feels like I already recorded the video and it's already perfect. And with your vices, this is another huge thing here. With your vices, so many people try to attack their vices by thinking, oh man, like, you're doing something you don't really want to do. You're just coasting. A lot of people are just coasting through life in school or in a 9-to-5. They don't want to work. And they're not attacking self-improvement by being additive, but they're doing it by being subtractive. They're trying to get rid of their vices and think, okay, well, I'm going to keep everything else the same, but I should really not be playing video games for 40 hours a week, or in the last 2 weeks or whatever, or like whatever Steam uses. I remember I'd always have like 40 or 60 hours in the past, week or two on Steam. But you're like, oh, I'm going to not play video games and I'm not going to jerk off and I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. But if you think about it, if I said to you right now, I'm not a bitch. Okay, I'm not a bitch, guys. I'm not a fucking bitch, I promise. All you're thinking about is me being a bitch. All you're going to think about is crank and hog. All you're going to be thinking of is playing video games. And all of these vices that you have are the result of something deeper. If you look at the psychology of it, the psychology, and I love focusing on the spiritual so much, but the psychology and the spiritual always line up. The psychology of lust and watching porn is a lack of purpose. That's the most frequently attributed reason people have that. So when you untie these knots, focus on what's in front of you, and you start pulling the rope again and actually start to have this fun battle like when you were a child of accomplishing these different things, the vices leave you. It's like beach balls. It's like, I think something that we can all relate to is when you try to take this approach of just destroying these vices without actually untying the knots and working on something else that gives you purpose and gives you, or like going in the gym, building something like building your physique. It's like holding all these beach balls underwater. So you're holding lust underwater and then you're holding video games and then you reach over to hold this one and that one flies up and then you finally get them all under for a day or a few hours and then they all fly up. And then you binge eat, you scroll on reels, you do all this stuff all in one day. But when you, let's say, when you find purpose, you start working on something, even if it's not something that's your purpose in life, but it gives you purpose in the moment, like you're building something, providing value to someone else, like starting a lawn care business, whatever. You pop the lust balloon and it just leaves you. That's what it's felt like for me. That's what it's really felt like. So you're popping the balloons and then holding them under, or the beach balls or whatever. And here's what I want to leave you with. Something that inspired me to make this video and made me think of all these things, draw it out, was just how messy, from an outside looking perspective, how messy my family dynamic in my life is right now. And out of respect and love for all my family, not going to go into too much, but the kind of stuff that when I was a kid, it would always make me feel like, man, life is just giving me so many problems and I feel like I can't do anything. But the world is incapable of giving you a problem. It can't do it. Was there any point in the Bible where Jesus was like, oh, fuck, man. Oh, fuck, this Judas guy's going to betray me. Fuck, dude. Or it's like where he said, oh, this isn't going to plan. No. He's perfect. So the world was incapable of giving him a problem. So the world asks us all the question, what do I look like? And we're all right. We're all validated. Some people think that the world's this messy, hate-filled place. I may as well, holy fuck, lock in, may as well not contribute, because we're just all bacteria that evolved into fish, that evolved feet so that we could become lizards, and then became fucking apes, and then we became humans, and we're on a rock orbiting a ball of fire, and nothing matters. And then other people say, how much can I give? What can I accomplish? What can I build? And someone messaged me recently, one of my friends, and they said, how do you have no anxiety? What the fuck? I've never seen you anxious. Being in the present and having faith. It feels like I already recorded this video before sitting down here, and it was perfect. And I already accomplished everything that I've wanted to accomplish. I'm just living it out. You know, it's like GTA 5, you know the story. You know, let's say you already know the story. Let's say you watch someone else play. You know the whole story, but you still have fun playing it out, you know? And it's awesome. And it's our summer. Let's fucking claim it, dude. Like, this is our summer. All you need to do is claim it. All you need to do is start untying the knots. Build the skill. Literally have that tangible feeling of mental improvement, because that's another part of the battle being messy is, oh, am I improving or I'm jerking off? I don't know. It feels like it's so messy. I'm such a negative guy. When you can literally know the time when you woke up and the amount of tension that you were able to build of maintaining, you know, that big juicy lemon dopamine, working, stacking wins in the morning, setting yourself up for success, and then, you know, maybe falling off a bit and getting your mind racing at around, you know, 12 or 1 p.m. And you're like, holy shit, yesterday I only got like half an hour of work done before it started getting messy and my mind became scattered. You just keep building that muscle. The world is a mirror. Everything's a mirror. One of the only pieces of advice that can immediately change your life and immediately give you value is knowing that everyone projects, even you. So whenever anything makes you mad, you got to think, am I this person's bitch? You know, this person's making me happy, sad. Does this person own me? What the fuck? Okay, why did that elicit that kind of response? And a lot of the time, people are super emotional. And I was super emotional because scrolling on Reels. Just, you're getting pulled from every different emotion, then you're becoming emotionally fried, and you think the only way you can work is if it's this huge journey of, I need to watch a self-improvement video and I need to get riled up to do work. Gotta cut that shit out, okay? That's another muscle to build, being emotionally consistent and always having the same energy, okay? I could go on so much longer, but I think that's a perfect place to leave this video, okay? Thank you for watching. If you got some value from this, feel free to like, subscribe. More content's coming. Instagram's in the description. I've not been posting there, but that changes, okay? I'm going to start by just, clipping up these videos, putting them in Instagram, but I will start doing, unique Instagram content, so feel free to follow that. My old dog shit content's still on there. Ignore it, okay? Or watch it to see my improvement. I'll probably keep some of it up there just to show my personal development. So that's another reason I post here, to document that, okay? Let's get it. This is our summer. Let's claim it. We're all going to be ascending. Insane community here. Let's fucking get it, okay?